Welcome viewers. On behalf of Iravati Research and Communication Center, this is your host, Pratim Ranjan Bose. I have with me Mr. Sajjan Kumar, a bright young political scientist whom you might have seen in national TV. Sajjan is a published author. For more than a decade, he has been conducting field study across the India. He writes regularly on themes of contemporary Indian politics in the national dailies. He is associated with People's Pulse of Hyderabad and Delhi-based PRACCIS. He privileges the social factor in his analysis and uses insights from political psychology along with rational choice theory to understand the shifts in the modes of identity politics and their shifting interplay with the contemporary Indian right. Now, that is about his his expertise and specialization. But he's over here more as a political scientist, someone who knows, who can feel the political pulses better than us or most of us. As you know, IRCC is for economy and of the economy. We don't entertain pure political debates and higglings and all those things. But discussions on the economy is incomplete without the political economics. Or rather, it's political economics that drives the real economy. It is in this context we will discuss issues pertaining to political stability, that is an essential factor behind the policy stability, new trends and concerns, the sudden rise in politics of freebies or reverie politics, and if there is a way to escape from that reverie politics.
There is so much of media publicity on Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Jatra. However, I see no reason to believe that it will improve Congress's prospects in accepting in expected pockets, in the South, etc., where they also have strong regional leaders. Surprisingly, Congress didn't, show that much of enthusiasm in Gujarat election, where they did pretty well last time. So, what is your take about India's second national party after BJP? Where is it heading? Over to you.
Yeah. Uh, See, we need to see Congress in terms of three parameters. One, the ideological shift within the party, and that will come. Second, in terms of the leadership. And third, in terms of the kind of perception, it is getting from the ground. Now, you see, already since Mrs. Gandhi's time, you would be more familiar, late 60s and early 70s, Congress went for a leftward, shift in terms of projecting it as a party which is more committed to the agenda, which is closer to the left, not exactly left. And therefore, it demonized the right wing even within the Congress. The Atulya Ghosh from Bengal, S.B. Patil from Maharashtra, K.B. Sahib from Bihar, S. Nijalingappa
It
from
almost dropped the
Karnataka.
tag of it was India's original nationalist party.
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
and it was once known as a party of jamindars and kings.
Yes,
it
yes.
dropped all those tags and
Yes.
became that poverty, poor, these
Yeah,
were
a left-wing populism we can say, and therefore it got the support of the left parties also. This is one. But thereafter also, Mrs. Gandhi's time and even during thereafter during Narasimha Rao's time, etc., you find some balancing, some right-wing leaders, right-wing agenda. But what happened 1990s onwards, suddenly with the family post Narasimha Rao period acquiring centrality again in the party, it openly went for, a kind of leftward shift. Okay, So much so that you will see many of the civil society groups associated with the left parties joined, the bandwagon of the Congress, and UP era is the best example of that. Now, today with Rahul Gandhi, what has happened? It has gone further kind of leftward, so much so that I find CPI and CPM more moderate than the kind of statements and policy visualization coming from the Gandhi. This is one shift in terms of ideology. If you find that Congress is the new left in India, and you see the kind of gestures and the people who are joining it, the kind of top advisors of the leaders coming from.
Yeah, we saw top the leftist poster boy, the left poster boy joining Congress.
Before that also, that was CPI. Before that, I mean, CPI-ML, CPI-ML's ISAs. I mean, one person being the advisor of Rahul Gandhi, now Priyanka Gandhi. That way, I mean, these people are good at, creating noise and everything, with some slogans and putting on social media. But do the society take cognizance of these protest agitationist mode of politics which Congress is doing now, which is very endearing to the top leadership? Answer is no. Second thing, if you see in terms of the leadership, the problem is that many a times a leader, being the opposition leader, you raise certain issues, which may be important issues because you are the watchdog of opposition, watchdog of a democracy in parliamentary system. Now, many a times in the last 5-7 years, we have been asking in Hindi Belt, South and some other places that under Rahul Gandhi, there are certain issues which Rahul Gandhi is raising, which is right issues, about the universal income guarantee, etc., etc. Then why don't you vote for the Congress? And the people say that we do not trust, his statements. So statements may not be right, but there is a huge trust deficit. Why? Because the party and party leaders are no more relatable. So I always say Congress has many leaders, few cadres, couple of workers with no voters. That's, of course, is polemical. It's a reverse pyramid, wherein the leader, there are more leaders in Congress, then the activists are less, then the cadres are there, and we see the voters are shrinking. This is the fact. So Congress literally today, in terms of the third social reception, is a shrinking ship. It is going to sink. Now, Congress, within the Congress, if you see, there are two debates. Whether Gandhis are the root cause of the problem. A section says yes, until and unless they are there, the party is not going to grow. And
yeah, we know about G23.
Yes, G23, and initially Rahul Gandhi indicated in 2019 that no Gandhis, but then again he never left the post. So you want to have the power without responsibility. You say that I am detached, I am in renunciated mode. This is the Rahul Gandhi who has forget old Rahul Gandhi and new Rahul Gandhi, all philosophical realm, but then you do not disappear. You do not let anyone, even the new Congress president, hog the limelight. It is you who is hogging the limelight. One. Two, if you see, in terms of leadership, when you are into the business of electoral politics, your policies and agenda should be according to social sensitivity. You cannot behave in terms of a very vanguard mindset who is there to first change the thought process of the society. And then you expect, so Rahul Gandhi first want to change the society, people's mode of thinking, and then he is motive. Once that happens, then perhaps people will come to comment. That will take decades if possible. So in terms of the leadership, the trust deficit is so kind of deep that even when he raises certain issues which is raised by other parties, which is right issues, people are not taking it clearly. And therefore today's Congress is not only not a centrist party, it is more left than the officially declared left party. And that you can see the way it protests, the way it raises the issues, the kind of people it is entertaining, the kind of forces it is giving, it's offering its platform to legitimize. And it is not the CPI or CPM today who is giving them the platform and entertaining them. It is the Congress.
Absolutely. It's related. Congress always takes pride, though, there are this Gandhi or non-Gandhi issue, that they did the economic reforms, which is correct. They did.
Yeah.
They did. And again, if we see, say, for example, irrespective of whatever, there are a lot of inefficiency issues with the Manmohan Singh government. Having said that, say for example, the pension scheme, the pension reforms, it was just initiated by Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee just before his exit. And
2004.
right, only 3 or 4 states or 2 states that actually joined NPS when Mr. Vajpayee left. Okay, but after that, it was during UPA period, mostly during UPA 1, that the government, central government convinced the states, and the states joined the reforms. And it is a major fiscal reform, because state finances are very crucial.
Yeah.
Having said that, it is that same very Congress which has done with Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh. They were the first one who initiated it. Reversal to old pension scheme, which is a defined benefit pension scheme. So the pensioners' earning will keep rising with every salary award.
Yeah.
This is disastrous. It is not populist at all, because you are dealing with barely 5%, 6% maximum. If you include the population, family members of all the government staff, then you are not going more than 5% of the population. I have never seen before that that a political party is giving so much, taking so much for 5% people. They do for 50% people. So here the interesting point is that Congress is actually started this politics. Freebies are there in every state. I'm not saying BJP is a holy cow, but it has gone to an extreme with the AAP giving this subsidized electricity. They are making a model out of it. Today, Delhi, which has 3 times the national per capita income of India, gives free subsidized electricity to 65% or 2/3 people. This is unsustainable. Now, Congress is giving competition to AAP in reversing reforms. The same very reforms which they started, or which they propagated, taken forward to. So who are they fighting against? Are they fighting against BJP to gain power, which is very legitimate, or they are fighting with AAP and other regional parties?
See, as far as Congress is concerned, Rahul Gandhi, even during the UPA regime, if you see, the Manmohan Singh and Montek Singh Ahluwalia, the duo, they stood for economic reform, and that story continued. Yeah, of course, there were Narega, etc., other welfare schemes that were there, but predominantly Manmohan Singh and Montek Singh Ahluwalia ensured that the economic reform story is continuing. 1. 2. Kapil Sibal, as the HRD minister, in his stint, is responsible for kind of bringing private investment into higher education, making institutions more autonomous, something they are opposing today tooth and nail by saying that you are selling, the kind of temples of education and learning to the vested private interests, etc., etc. It's another matter. Most of the faculty member hail from, the same ideological leaning who are bringing these aspects. You see the India's, corporatized university. Then similarly, one knows about the inclination of leaders like P. Chidambaram, Pallam Raju, also Pranab Mukherjee was there. They all had a mindset to continue the story of economic reform. Now, today you see, not only these leaders are redundant or no more. Who are the advisors Rahul Gandhi is surrounded with? They are not the old bona fide Congress leaders. We have to differentiate. A couple of them are there, they do not have the leverage. Where from? Rahul Gandhi is not an expert on finance. Atal Bihari was not an expert on finance. Manmohan Singh was. But a leader usually is surrounded by more talented policy advisors, right? That is the quality of leadership, to have a team, and to lead that who is more qualified than you in every realm. Now, who are the advisors who are advising Rahul Gandhi in terms of what, I mean, it cannot be his conscience because his conscience doesn't reveal anything in perpetuity. It's always shifting from here and there. So primarily, again, coming back to that, it is the left takeover of the Congress, and
it
it's
has
no
never
more the
happened. It has never happened.
and mind it, Pratim, it's not the parliamentary left. Many of the forces are coming from extra parliamentary left group. It is they who are not only championing the course of Congress, but they are also the ones who have eyes and ears to the top leadership of the Congress. So if you see, Rahul Gandhi is not a kind of expert of economics or finance. So certainly he must be having certain advisors. And who are the advisors? We all know. It's not just the moderate left or the official left or the parliamentary left. Many of the forces are those who just want
That's
to go for
okay. That's okay. So I, if I assume, see, in the past, what happened? Jawaharlal Nehru gave space to the leftists or socialists. He had a nightmarish experience during that Krishna Menon phase as in defense ministry. Indira Gandhi did give space. Indira Gandhi was too strong in her days. So the space was to the extent she wanted. Right.
And by 1980, she reversed the course by going for pro-market.
Right. Yeah. Now, if this and if what you are saying is correct, then it is not Congress which is running Congress. It is someone else who has taken over that banner. Okay. Now, that's a very dramatic change. That means Congress doesn't exist anymore. And that's a very dangerous proposition. Both for the voter who is looking for an alternate, he doesn't know who is the party to come in the election to replace BJP. Similarly, for BJP, who should they aim at as opposition?
See, first, I mean, quickly responding. Since Nehru's time and Indira Gandhi's time, Congress always flirted with left, but they flirted to the extent use it when required and dump them, discard them when the purpose is served. Today, what has happened? It's no more that flirtation. It's no more that coming together. It's basically the left takeover of the Congress, and it's no, and I'm emphasizing, it's not the left which is a responsible left, at least which believes in parliamentary procedures, which goes by the institutional processes, etc. And today, one of the irony you will find, the anti-India distortionist forces are talking in constitutional language, and one has to be clear about it.
Very true. I mean, we do, if we by left say we have to first take the name of CPIM, right, the largest party, and we are not seeing them into this kind of, even when they are protesting, even say West Bengal or wherever, they are not going to that extreme where they used to be in the 1970s. So does it, so that means that here is a situation, so that is correct, that Congress will compete with AAP or whosoever it may be, in getting those things, in coming to power by any way. Without thinking about the future.
Exactly. What has happened?
Now, suppose if they come back to power in Rajasthan, assume that they will be there for another 10 years. The Rajasthan will be ruined, not because of Congress, but because they have reverted to the old pension scheme. There won't be any money, further money left. It is one of the sickest state in terms of fiscal situation.
Not only that, I mean, the celebration of this disastrous economic model can be found into the book written by the ex-head of India's Amnesty International, Akar Patel, The Price of Modi Years. Now, when the financial situation of entire state of Sri Lanka was collapsing, the updated edition of book was comparing how the financial, performance of economic indicator of Sri Lanka is way better than India. I mean, he put all, I don't know where from they get the survey and data, everything. So it's not just about the kind of disastrous model which would be pursued and followed. It is also the kind of legitimacy that such a policy direction is acquiring from the people who are considered to be in know-how of the economic scenario. So it's a deliberate push to, let me be blunt. Opposition today wants that there should be a civil right. Their frustration is that why people are not coming despite their clarion call, why people everywhere are not kind of taking a state to the drains. So suppose tomorrow something happens wherein there is a chaos in India, mind it, the opposition today in such a state of desperate mind that it would be happy to see a scenario so that it will get a chance to condemn the contemporary regime.
That's a very
So that is why
dangerous
many a
situation.
time when you see the push towards, a direction towards drain, a disastrous policy, it is not that the people who are pursuing it do not know the consequences. In fact, the very fact that they know the consequences seems to be the reason why such a suicidal, policy choices are being implemented and being sold and legitimized by people who have certain bona fide image of being know-how of the financial and economic scenario.
Absolutely. I was quite alarmed to see that Congress promised that they will go for this OPS, old pension scheme in Karnataka.
Yes.
Some leaders said. I mean, it was very alarming.
Is it feasible? Is it feasible? First question one should ask.
It was never feasible.
Yeah, if it was the case, why? Yeah. During the 10 years of UPA rule, you should have done that. Why to wait for BJP to come to power and then suddenly, trying to get back
this has no explanation. So that is why I asked you that in terms of political economic form, Congress is a national party. If it, 10 years, 15 years, someone is ruling, fine. But then it has to, supposedly it had to come to power, right?
Yeah.
So if it has to come to power, India had if we look back to our 30 years of reforms, we will see that largely, by and large, 99% is that, the parties which whosoever came in power didn't reverse the reform. They slowed down. Some government did slow down, some government didn't work, that's okay, but they didn't reforms process. For the first time, for the pension scheme is very important to me because for the first time we are seeing reversal of a 2-decade-old reform. And just when in another decade we are supposed to get the fruits of that reform. So then
let me tell that it is not the old Congress cards which is going for this reversal. It is the new takeover, new set of advisor coming from the left, and the willingness and gullibility of the top leaders, who is more endeared to these new forces and discarding. It's impossible to take an appointment with the top leadership of the Congress right now.
It was always.
It was still. Even this dilapidated, but it is very easy for the new forces to fix an appointment. And I'm giving you some of the anecdotes which I heard from the first hand. And we know how Hemanta Biswa Sarma, the Chief Minister of Assam, said that after years of something he was granted an interview, and what happened.
See, those are probably peripheral issues, but we were into more important discussion of whether we were working in the path. We are now aspiring to be we are world's third largest economy or fourth largest economy. We want to be the third largest very soon. So these are our aspirations. We want to be richer economy personally, as a community wise, we want to be richer. These are the aspirations. Suddenly we are probably getting surrounded or hearing or feeling some anarchist voices. I'm sorry if I make choice of word, but what I see is financial anarchism, nothing else.
And especially in democracy, Pratim, there can be a change of parties, but in terms of certain policies of national interest, there has to be some sort of understanding and continuity, and that has been the way. Foreign policy, finance policy.
See, Mr. Vajpayee started building roads. The benefits came to Congress in terms of growth. Okay, that is how the economy progresses. There is
exactly.
It is not about party, but what we are alarmed to see here is that the opposition, principal opposition, is working against reforms. It is not merely taking up political posturing, which BJP also did in its time. Okay, they are blamed to delay the process of GST, which is accepted. Okay, but this is something, if tomorrow another party comes and withdraws GST, that is catastrophic. So
Yes, yes.
here what we are seeing is catastrophic, is that for the first time in the 33 decades of reforms, we are seeing reforms are being withdrawn, and it has so much of, or at least a shade of similarity to the Agri Reforms Act withdrawal. Reforms are being withdrawn.
Yeah, Pratim, I mean, I think let us give them the benefit of doubt that, like us, they also know, they have the advisors about the consequences of such policies.
They know fully well,
One.
and that
So
is my worry.
which means it is the consequences they want to ensure. Otherwise, what could justify? What else could justify?
No, nothing.
I mean, they have the people who know economics. They have the people who have been erstwhile finance minister. They have the people who know the consequences of every policy choices. I mean, one can understand change in terms of degrees, but change in terms of direction is something which is completely irrational. Only rational explanation could be, like us, they also know. In fact, they know in detail the ensured consequences of such policy choices. So certainly it's the consequences, which is disaster,
Okay.
which they
So
are
that
expecting. And
that
maybe the disaster, there may be psychological thinking that a disaster, a chaos will give them another chance to make a comeback. Sorry to bring politics, but otherwise it's very intriguing to understand that someone in sane mind who knows the infeasibility, assured destruction of these bad and disastrous policy choices is still not only vouching for it, but also projecting them as the normative moral choices.
Absolutely. At every election, every state election, going with that template. Now that takes us to the source of that template.
Yeah.
Aam Aadmi Party.
Yeah.
Their first contribution to India's competitive federalism was free or subsidized electricity. They started with Delhi. It didn't pinch all India because Delhi is a small place.
Yes.
And Delhi is a prosperous place.
Yes.
But now they are going out with that template. They have got opportunity in Punjab. So what we are seeing, 85% of the subscribers, electricity subscribers, get zero bill. And 600 units of electricity, at 600 units, you can run at least 3 air conditioners, at least. And very, it's not like you are just switching them on at night time. You can enjoy them throughout the day. Or, I mean, maybe 2 ACs and a pump. So this is not for middle class. This is not for any poor, nothing. It has gone beyond all that. When 85% get it, so it's gone beyond every definition. And at the same time, Rajasthan and Congress, Punjab, these two are India's most fiscally stressed state as per RBI June report. So these in Punjab, they also reversed the pension reforms. That takes us to the question, and wherever Kejriwal is going is just again, Congress is saying only about old pension scheme, and Kejriwal is saying free electricity, old pension scheme. I mean, it's a different issue if someone else comes up tomorrow and say something, add another element to that. The question is very simple. Now, let me ask you, and you have to answer it quick also, is that finally, if we see the 70 years of Indian democracy, we know about international forces, these, that, all these are fine. But for last 30 years, since the fall of the Berlin Wall, nowhere in the world, you didn't really, you don't get the anarchist approach doesn't really get support, international support. Okay. Reformist approach do get. Whether that reforms helps you or not is a different value judgment. So the question here is, what does AAP, now that they are in 2 states and going out everywhere, we have a situation here where, as you said, that the old left has matured and restrained. Congress has become the new left. I don't know left or whatever, whether we should add a word ultra ahead of it. Where is up? It is too many. It is the force that is the emerging force. It is going to take over, take the votes of Congress, as we might see in Gujarat. Okay. What should be the purpose? If does AAP have a national ambition? If they do have, it's okay for some regional leader to do certain things. But when you are having a national ambition, let us assume that Congress has lost the ambition. But if AAP has that national ambition, why should they sport such an anti-reform image? Why?
Yeah. Pratim, let me just differentiate AAP from Congress. I know what Congress today is standing for. I do not
And just
know
to
what
add
AAP
to
stands
that,
for.
just to add to that, is that at the same time, Arvind Kejriwal is vouching for his Hindutva.
That's why I said, I know what contemporary Congress stands for. So Congress to me is a predictable party. Right or wrong, bad or good, but I can rationally understand the characters, the moves of the party and the leaders. Aam Aadmi Party, we all are clueless. It can at the same stage, in the same stretch of statement, it can go for tukre tukre and it can go for Bharat Mata Ki Jai at the same time. So that way, if you see, Aam Aadmi Party is like a amoeba, a shapeless party, which can modify itself into any form, be it in terms of ideology and be it in terms of policy. The number of liquor shop and the scam and everything in Delhi is taking, because when you go for freebies, you need to you need to compensate for that. This is one. Second thing, what is most interesting, one easy explanation could be it's a political party wants to win election and knows that inflation is certainly making the charm of freebies more popular. You get hold of in the era of competitive populism, when in all parties are willing to give freebies to more and more section of the voters and citizens. Aam Aadmi Party has raised the pitch to such an extent that the other parties are forced to, because such a populist thing, compete, including BJP. But why is it that a party which is so much taking pride everywhere, saying that we convert election and issues in civic and material and economic centric issues, we do not let cultural and identity issue take the front seat? Have you ever seen Aam Aadmi Party talking about jobs and employment? Ever? Today, primarily, I take, so at least I see Congress at least paying lip service to that. You will never find Arvind Kejriwal or Aam Aadmi Party or any leader talking about generating employment. No. You will never talk Aam Aadmi Party or Aam Aadmi Party talking about industrialization or generating jobs or contributing to productivity or new modes of employment. It's what? Give us whatever you have, we will give it to you free. This is the mode of the party. Now, for Delhi, it is understandable because in Delhi, you can sustain this model for some time, because the revenue collection, tax collection, now they are vouching for MCD also because they will get more tax. So therefore, in a place like Delhi, which is just a minuscule, wherein the government has more, better means of revenue collection, you can sustain these freebies. Can you sustain that in Punjab? Can you sustain that in any other state except
any state? No state, nowhere it is sustainable. Nowhere.
No, in Gujarat, what they are doing, they are giving written guarantees, signed vouchers in writing that they are going to. So psychologically, the way Aam Aadmi Party is not only taking the politics of freebies or revenue, ahead than other parties, they are taking it all together to a different plane. A fraud which is being committed, that you cannot come in Gujarat, you can't win more than 10, 12, 15 seats, and yet you are giving the promise. Why? Because once you lose the election, you can go and ask people to agitate against the ruling party. So that way, Aam Aadmi Party, which certainly has a national ambition, Arvind Kejriwal on record has said that he wants to be the prime minister, is something which is going to be, we don't know which one is worse, but certainly is going to be more disastrous, because you cannot understand the modus operandi, the psychology of the leadership and the organization called Aam Aadmi Party.